Rust has not been ruled out of tonight's game. Penguins went through a light optional skate, and Rust was able to participate, so that's an encouraging sign. He's going to play against the Sharks tonight. Told us he feels good. He'll see how things go in the afternoon. Mike Sullivan, as expected, called him a game-time decision. Evgeny Malkin, who became a dad yesterday, is playing well despite a lack of goals, according to Sullivan.
His scoring chance involvement in his primary chances himself, and he's been involved in a fair amount of chances, both primary and secondary, over the last, the last two series. So, we feel real comfortable with this game. We know it's a matter of time before he scores.
And rookie Tom Kuhnhackl is feeling more relaxed.
Obviously, you were nervous at your first playoff game, but then, when you go to round 2 and 3, it's just another game. But now it's the Stanley Cup Finals. Like, this is what you always dream of playing for. Obviously, you were a little nervous, but I think it's more excitement than nervousness.
The Sharks are 5-1 after a loss this postseason. They will add Matt Nieto to their lineup. The speedy winger was injured in the Nashville series. Before that, he had 1 goal in 11 postseason games. NBCSN will have tonight's game at 8 o'clock. Losers of 3 of 4 since a 5-game win streak. The Pirates go with John Deese in Miami. The Marlins counter with left-hander Adam Conley. Deese beat the Rangers last Friday for his 5th win. Conley comes in 3-3. He has never faced the Pirates. First pitch will be 7:10. Fan preview today at 5:45. The Brewers and Cardinals play ball at Miller Park this afternoon. St. Louis won the first 2 games of the series, outscoring the Brewers 16-3. And more fallout from the Baylor football scandal. Ken Starr is resigning as chancellor as a matter of conscience, he said. Ron?
All right, Eric, thank you. Welcome back to hour number 4. This Wednesday edition of Cook and Pony, we are brought to you by Petite Kitchen and Bath Design Center. We're expecting to be joined momentarily by Bob Pompeani of KDK TV2. Get his take on these games. Andrew, I believe he was right in his prediction, right on everyone. I think he picked the Rangers against Penguins against Rangers in 5, Washington in 6, and Tampa Bay in 7. Pretty good run.
What is he doing here?
For his crystal ball.
Get to Vegas or Reno or Lake Tahoe and put your money where your mouth is, man. That's some kind of heater Pompeani's on. 3 straight series? That's not easy to do.
Exactly.
Did he pick the Sharks to come out of the West? Because that would really
I don't know. We're going to have to find out about that. Let's ask him.
Let me just jump in here for a second. There's a report out of Cleveland that Marlon Byrd is tested positive for PEDs again.
This is number 2?
Pirate. This would be his second pop. He's already been suspended 50 games.
He was not a likable guy when he was here.
This is somebody that, after the Balco thing, still had Victor Connie as his trainer, so he put 2 and 2 together. And it looks like Bird, who got into a big tiff with the Pirates last year with the Reds and played for him back on that first wild card team in 2013.
That was a big part of their success.
Could be in trouble again.
All right, we do have him on the line now. I believe he picked the Penguins in 5 against the Rangers, in 6 against the Capitals, and 7 against Tampa Bay. Bob Pompeani, KDK TV2, how do you call this series? Even though it's a little bit of a cheat, you get to guess after make your pick after the first game, but who do you got?
No, I picked it on Twitter before, and I have been Pens in 6. I think they'll win this in 6 games, which means, unfortunately, if that happens, it'll be on the road when they win it, but who cares at that point? It would be nice to get it at Consol Energy Center, which is where everything else has happened, but I think San Jose will still make this a very interesting series.
What was your take on Game 1? The Penguins totally dominated the first period, San Jose the second, the Penguins had an edge in the third. Do you come to any conclusions based on that, other than the fact these two are awfully close in terms of talent and skill?
My one conclusion is I like Punjabi a lot. That guy was really good. But I think the conclusion is the Penguins, when they do what they have to do, I don't think San Jose can keep up, and that's the biggest reason why I see the Penguins still winning this series, or winning in a 6, as I said, because that speed element just takes them into areas that the other team, no matter who it's been, cannot keep up. And we saw the shot totals again slanted heavily in 15-4 in the first, 18-9 in the third. Now the second period, there was San Jose's response, and you expect to get that from a team like this. They're going to insert some more speed into their lineup tonight. I think they realize they're going to have to really play a more physical game to try to derail some of these defensemen. They're going to have to bang the blue liners of the Penguins before they can actually start, get the puck and start out of their own zone. Because when that happens, they're pretty systematic, and no one's been able to really stop that when the Penguins get to that part of their game.
Bob, so that's your reasoning for San Jose winning 2 games, would be what you just said there. Now, how much importance do you put on tonight's game? Do you think that San Jose can still win the series if it goes back to San Jose 2-0 Penguins?
I think they can, but it's the statistics tell you that's not normally what happens, Andrew. And the Penguins were, if I'm not mistaken, right back in 2009, they were down after they lost to the Red Wings the first 2, and they came back and won that thing.
Right.
It can be done. We saw Golden State do it the other day. They're down 3-1. The odds are heavily stacked against you, and everything happens. I don't think San Jose wants to get. If they do fall behind 0-2, I don't see them coming back. That's why I think this is going to shoot it.
The weather information is currently being released. Post office officials say they're assessing the damage, and the post office remains open for business. Survivors of domestic violence and victims of stalking say they're being discriminated against in the local housing market, and as a consequence, they're not reporting the abuse for fear of losing their apartment. City Councilman Dan Gilman says he was unaware of this problem, but now that it's been brought to his attention, he's introduced legislation that would prohibit housing discrimination based on an individual's status as a victim of domestic abuse. Gilman says the city imposes fines and penalties against landlords if their properties are the source of multiple 911 calls for criminal activity, loud music, and building code violations.
We made sure we excluded all types of police calls that would be related to a domestic violence incident for this very reason. So our law actually explicitly writes which different violations would result in kind of your 3-strike rule, and any domestic violence related incident is excluded from that list.
The proposed 35-year-old Mark Lapata, he died of blunt force trauma and a gunshot wound to his head. Authorities say he was found dead Friday afternoon on Harker Street in Elliott. KQV News Time is now 1:08. Look at traffic and weather being brought to you by the Alpine Pools with 5 locations. Go to alpinepools.com for the store nearest you. And we have a couple accidents slowing things down. One in Tarentum, Butler-Logan Road at Crawford Run Road. A truck went into a pole, and the pole and the wires have been brought down by that accident. Another accident, Derry Township, Westmoreland County. This is Route 982. Both directions impacted at the Route 22 William Penn Highway area there, so use caution if you're approaching those accident scenes in Tarentum and Derry Township. Parkway West is jammed up inbound before Parkway Center Drive and the Fort Pitt Tunnel, and we have backups on the Parkway East near the Britain Road overpass, Forest Hills, and the Squirrel Hill Tunnel. And a reminder, if you use the Fort Pitt Tunnel, PennDOT will be closing the outbound Fort Pitt.
In that game early on, that could have, it could have been a totally different outcome in terms of margin of difference after that first period. I thought he was terrific then, but I don't expect to see that just continue. I really don't.
We're talking to Bob Pompeani of KDK TV2. And Bob, a lot of us worried about what impact the loss of Trevor Daley would have. Game 4, they ended up losing Game 5 to Tampa, but then played well and won 6 and 7 in the other night. Are these defensemen better than what we maybe anticipated? Everybody knows about Letang, but how about the other 5 guys?
Well, I think yeah. I mean, they're doing things. I remember last year the 2 trades that were made by Rutherford at the time. Simon DeBray for Lovejoy, and a lot of people didn't like that. Originally, I didn't either. I do now, but I didn't like it because I just like the physicality, the play. Plus, he's younger. Lovejoy has been outstanding. I think Cole's another guy. When he went through ups and downs, he was good at first. They tail off this year. Benched. How was he benched? He was benched for a long time, I think.
11 games.
Is it that many?
Yes.
Well, he was like a minus something.
Minus 17 through the first 45 games.
Okay, well, now what is he now?
Now he's a plus 22 since he's been back, counting the playoffs.
You are a stat machine right now.
Well, I wrote about it in the PG today, so.
Really, but that kind of turnaround, for whatever reason, that helped him. He got back. He refocused. whatever it took for him to turn his season around, he did. And I think the young guys, Matt is another good example. He was benched during the playoffs, looked slow, whatever the case may be. He's responded. He was on the ice in Game 7 at the end. They trust him. They know that, but he was going through a tough time. So everyone has elevated their game when need be. And Daly's still huge for me, though. I look at this, and that was a tough loss for this team to take.
Bob, true or false, if Sidney Crosby plays the way he did in Game 1, the Penguins can't lose the series to San Jose?
I would say true, although, to me, he's still going to come up with some goals here along the way. Both those guys do, because I don't know how long you can rely on. The nice thing about their team is they have so many guys who can. And when I think that's a misnomer too. When people get critical, they look strictly at production, and that's fine. But I think the line success has a lot to say about both the play of Malkin and Crosby. And I think if they have line success and they're part of it, I thought there were times in that Game 1, when Malkin's line was dominating for over a minute. I think Crosby's line set the tone. You get some rewards out of that, and if someone on your line, and you may not get a point or you may not get a goal, but you impacted, I think that's a reason to think that, if he plays that way, then they will be heavy favorites to me to win this series.
Bob, what do you see tonight? Does San Jose climb back into this series? Do you like their chances tonight maybe more than you did in Game 1?
I do. I think San Jose will respond tonight. Like I said, I picked them in 6 rounds, so I got to give them 2 wins somewhere. I think one will be tonight. I would be surprised if they would come here and go down 0-2. I think that first game, I don't understand when people say, well, we weren't ready. I mean, how could you not be ready for Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals? But maybe some travel issues. Who knows? Going west to east may be tougher than east to west for them. But I expect a response by San Jose. But I think the Penguins will do the same out there.
See, I think they weren't ready for the speed. I don't think it had anything to do with the time change or body clock. I think it's one thing to watch on TV and get scouting reports on players. The last time the two teams had played was in December, and I think that San Jose may have felt like they were ready for that kind of tempo, but in all actuality they weren't, and they needed that intermission to catch their bearings and get their crap together.
I think that's a good point, absolutely. You can watch it on tape, but just like Tampa Bay, Tampa's a fast team. I think people don't give them enough credit and hadn't throughout the course of their series, but the Penguins are just faster, and they're faster than San Jose. I don't care who they put in their lineup tonight. They're not going to be as fast as the Penguins, which means they're going to have to get spots earlier, win more puck battles behind nets, put more pressure on the Penguin defensemen. If they can do that, I think it takes a toll as the game wears out.
Bob, real quickly, the Pirates lost last night, but do you like the way this team is trending? Jeff Locke has been pretty good his last number of starts. Nice has been better than expected his last couple starts. To me, it got to get going here is Liriano and Nicasio. Overall, do you like the Pirates at 29 and 22?
Yeah, I mean, considering that this pitching still has to, like you cited, I mean, those guys, it's got to be more consistent. The starting pitchers haven't been able to go as deep in the games as maybe you'd expect. It was nice to see Locke go all the way through, but it helps having 10 runs. And it took some pressure off him. He was great with his location on fastballs and changeup, and pretty much relied on those 2 pitches. So Nicasio's been erratic. Liriano's been not what he should be. I trust he'll get better. I think Nicasio will be the guy to get out whenever one of these other guys is ready. But Nice is, there's a lot to be said for winning 7 out of his 10 starts. People make a lot about every time they go out, they win with the exception of last night. But when Nice gets out there, things are happening, and they won 7. I'll take that anytime. Although I think he had a couple of innings early in games this season, which bloated the ERA. I think it's been much better since those.
Bob, do you think there's a better chance 2 months in the Pirates win the division or miss the playoffs?
I think it's still a long way, Andrew. I think probably the better chance is missing the playoffs, if you're asking me right now, just because I think there are a lot of other teams out there capable of putting up wild card records that could impact the Pirates, and more so than last year, I thought. So it's still early to me, but I don't think the division's out of reach at all. They have too many games left with the Cubs. I think people have come to that conclusion far too early. A lot can change, and but Chicago's got to cool down a little bit. They went through a 3-8 stretch prior to their recent win streak, which was stopped last night. But they're going to have a few more of those, and the Pirates got to be consistent and win those head-to-head games as much as they can.
All right, Bob, thanks. Enjoy the hockey game tonight. We'll look forward to talking to you again real soon. That's Bob Pompeani at KDK TV2. We'll be back to continue the show right after this on Sports Radio 93.7 The Fan.
The Fan presents Bucko Talk every Saturday. Brought to you by Citizens Bank, GoForge Behavioral Health System, and GoFullMakerHomes.com. On a flagship home for your Pittsburgh Pirates. Sports Radio 93.7 The Fan, Pittsburgh's hometown sports station.
Celebrate the U.S. Open with the American Golf History Exhibit at Carnegie Science Center's Highmark Sportsworks through June 19th. Hit clubs and golf balls from different periods in a custom swing simulator and compare your drive to past U.S. Open champions.
Richard Bazzi's, Schultz Ford in Wexford, Schultz Ford in Harmarville. Schultz Certified Pre-Owned is a completely different buying experience because when you walk in there, they genuinely care about you as a person. I'm not kidding. This is not your normal car salesman or car dealership. Rich.
Feel like they're going to fall down.
Ron Cook and Andrew Filipponi, Sports Radio 93.7 The Fan, Pittsburgh's hometown sports station.
All right, we got an Eric Hagman update coming momentarily. Then we'll get back to the hockey talk. We got a world's famous What's Cooking segment, Joe, today. Is a good one. He can't say no. He every day he says, this is the best one we've ever had, and then he tries to top it. I'll be eager to hear what to tie into today's game. Yes, isn't there a song about San Jose? That could be tomorrow or Friday. Do you know the way to San Jose? Yeah, isn't that a song?
Yeah.
That's got to be one of the two for tomorrow. He's back there shrugging, never take anything for granted, so. Maybe we'll have
I have no idea.
I have no idea. Maybe just the Stanley Cup or the NHL theme song, maybe. I don't know. Two teams playing tonight. And
it's a riddle.
Okay. You got any clue? Well, we'll know in about just about 15 minutes actually, we're going to know it in about 20 minutes from now. So stay tuned for that. Right now, stay tuned for Eric Hagman. He is next.
Now, the 2020 sports updates powered by Belgian Buick GMC trucks.
Brian Rust stopped short of saying he'll definitely play tonight when the Penguins host the Sharks in Game 2 of the Stanley Cup Final, but after participating in the morning skate, He said so far so good, and he'll see how he feels through the afternoon.
Obviously, you want to play.
Mike Sullivan later said that rust will be a game-time decision. The coach said they're getting strong play from Chris Kunitz.
Certainly the last series and game one here, we think he's really done a great job as far as forcing opponents to have to make plays under pressure. He creates a lot of turnovers, and when he has the puck, he has the ability to make